What is up, everybody? We're back here for the 2023 NFL season preview. Excited to get into this one as the regular season commences in a couple of weeks here. Going to be going through all the divisions and giving a record prediction for every team. Then going to be filling out my playoff bracket to eventually crown a Super Bowl champion here. Remember, as always, to like and subscribe and comment down below what you think of my predictions in the comments. So we get into it here with the AFC East, potentially the most loaded division in the entire NFL. And give me the Bills to finish 12-5 here. I know that people are expecting them to regress, but I actually expect a better season out of Allen in his second year without Brian Daboll as the offensive coordinator there. I like the pickup of Damien Harris to bolster the backfield there. I just think it gives them more versatility, as well as Dalton Kincaid, the draft pick tight end out of Utah there. I think will be very helpful. And then I think their defense, even without Leslie Frazier, hasn't been great the last couple of years. I think it just maintains, maybe even improves a bit. So give me the Bills to finish 12-5 there. Bit of a tough schedule, but I just think that they're the strongest team in this division. Number two, close second, give me the Dolphins at 10-7. I think they have a great year this year here, and hopefully Tua can stay healthy. I like the pickup of Jalen Ramsey, and I just think that they have a talented roster, but I'm a bit skeptical of Tua. He had a great start of last year and then kind of tapered off, also got injured for a few games there as well. Next, we go to the Jets at 10-7. I've been barely finishing in third here, and I think Aaron Rodgers improves this team a lot. Still, like most, skeptical of that offensive line, and I think that could be a massive weak point for this team, especially if they want to run the ball with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. And I am skeptical of their weapons as well, because Garrett Wilson, he had a great rookie year, but is he capable of being a great number one receiver? And Allen Lazard there as well at their number two. So I don't think they have a bunch of depth there like a lot of people are saying. Their defense was great last year. I'm not sure how great it's going to be, but I just think that Aaron Rodgers carries this team to a 10-7 record, bounces back after a tough season with the Packers last year. And last, I have the Patriots at 8-9 here. I just do not think that they have the juice and their offensive personnel to finish above these other teams. Very tough schedule for them this year, and I think that it's a make-or-break year for Mac Jones, and I just do not think he can live up to the hype of what Patriots fans want him to be there, following in Tom Brady's footsteps. I think Bill O'Brien will help, but just do not think that the offensive personnel there. The defense and special teams will be great. They'll be very disciplined, as any Bill Belichick coach team is, but I just do not think that they have the talent to get above 8 wins there. Now, before we get to the AFC North, I have to stress to you all to join our Discord, top link in bio, where we have a sports betting pick service where we've been very profitable, up over 15 units on the year and picking up steam as we go into the college football and NFL seasons. We've had 6 straight winning days, and we will have a plan called the NFL Season Pass. Betting summary of last year, we were up 61 units from this time. You get all of our picks from the start of the NFL season, second week of September, all the way to the Super Bowl. And as you can see, very profitable in NFL, college football, college basketball, even a little NBA there. So $100 better would net over $6,100 there. Very profitable. Give that one a look. Top link in bio, completely free to join as of this point right now. So next we go to the AFC North, where a bit of a surprise here maybe for some. I've got the Ravens supplanting the Bengals here, finishing 11-6. I think that their defense is just much better than the Bengals, and I think that Lamar Jackson will return to his elite form if he can stay healthy the whole season. That's what I'm banking on there. I think OBJ will be very productive out of the wide receiver position as well. I like Monken as that offensive coordinator. I think it'll give them some more creativity that they didn't have with Bill Roman. And I just think that the Ravens, just complete roster-wise, are a better team than Cincinnati. Just barely have them edging out. The Bengals there also have a bit of an easier schedule from getting second place last year. Then at number 2, got the Bengals at 11-6. Think that Burrow will have another great season with this offense. Maybe the last year that they have that wide receiver trio there. I think that their offensive line will be a bit improved, and their defense has always been clutch. Will get their job done there, just barely have them getting edged out by the Ravens. Next, we have the Browns at 9-8. Maybe a bit of a surprise. I just think that Deshaun Watson improves this team to get an over 500 record there. Don't have them being world beaters here and getting over the Ravens and Bengals, because I think that they do have some flaws, especially on that defense. But great offensive line, great running back stable there, and I think that Deshaun Watson will have an improved season over last year, so give me them to finish 9-8. Then we've got the Steelers at 8-9. I just think it comes down to the quarterback play of Kenny Pickett. I think he's the worst quarterback in this division. We'll see how he improves. He didn't really turn the ball over in the last few games of last season, which really helped them. They actually finished 9-8, but I just do not think he'll be that consistent this year with this team. So give me the Steelers to finish at the bottom there, 8-9. Next, we go to the AFC South, where I have the Jags at 10-7. Pretty routine here. There's no team that I think can even compete with them, really. Maybe the Titans, but even that is a bit of a stretch there because I think they have way too many holes on their roster. I do not think that the Jags finish at a 1 or 2 seed here, just because I think they have some holes there as well. You know, you look at their line, it's suboptimal, and also their defense be lacking at some times. I think that Trevor Lawrence is a very good quarterback. Maybe not elite like some people do, but getting Calvin Ridley should help them a lot there. So I have them winning 10 games and winning the division there. Next, we got the Titans. Very interesting team. They obviously acquire DeAndre Hopkins, and then you've got Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the NFL, in the backfield there. their offensive line has been deteriorating over the last couple of seasons, and then you've got Tannehill, and then also Malik Willis and Will Levis. We'll see if any of them get to play this season. And then the defense has also been getting worse over the last couple of years. So I just think that this is a 7-win team, not as bad as the Texans and Colts, and they do have a decently easy schedule there, but I just do not think that they can compete for a playoff berth. Then we've got two of the worst teams in the league in the cellar here, with the Texans at 4-13 and the Colts at 3-14. Both teams starting rookie quarterbacks this year, C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson, and both have new coaching staffs. You've got DeMeco Ryans with the Texans and Shane Steichen with the Colts. I think that those will be two very good coaches maybe in the next couple of years, but this year, putting in their cultures, I just do not think that it will rub off in an effective manner, especially to start out the season. So I've got them finishing with 4 and 3 wins respectively there. Next, we get to the AFC West, where I've got the Chiefs finishing at 12-5 to top it out here. And they have very interesting home and away splits this season, which, I mean, they could finish with a maybe 15-2 type record if they are very good, as we've seen the Chiefs be in these Patrick Mahomes years, because they play the Bengals, Bills, and Eagles at home. So if they can win all of those and then win some of the easier games on the road, look out for this team. I still got them finishing at the 1 seed as is, but I think that they do drop a couple of games in division here just because their schedule is pretty tough. The offense will be great, as always, with Patrick Mahomes here and Kelsey, and I think that they did bolster the wide receiver positions there, and then played a lot of rookies on that defense. Think that it will be kind of the same. We'll see what happens with Chris Jones in this holdout, but you can always rely on the Chiefs to win this division, 12-5 there. I think that I have them doing it easily. Then number 2, got the Chargers regressing a little at 9-8 here. I think that Kellen Moore may help this offense. Justin Herbert was a little bit worse than we've seen him last year. He was dealing with a bit of a rib injury. We'll see what happens there. And they also have the receiver that they drafted, Johnson, out of TCU. But I just think there's too many holes in this roster, and it feels like they're always dealing with injuries and cannot get over the hump. So I think in a competitive AFC with a very tough schedule, I do not think that they can produce enough to make the playoffs there. I've got them finishing at 9-8. Then I've got the Broncos at 8-9. Think that they have a slight improvement with Sean Payton as the head coach. I think that Russell Wilson is better than last season, but I just do not think that he can get back to his winning ways and successful era with the Seattle Seahawks there. And I do think defense will regress a little. It was great last year because they really needed it to be. I think it'll regress a little this season, although I do like some of the young pieces that they have there. Next, we got the Raiders, and I got them finishing 7-10 here. I just think that this division and the whole conference is so loaded that they will be left with 7 wins here. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo can be effective as a quarterback of this team. Their line isn't great, but you could have Josh Jacobs and Zamir White, which will be very effective tandem. And then obviously you've got Devontae Adams on the outside. Defense still won't be that effective, and I think that it will hold them back there. So I think only 7 wins for this Raiders team this upcoming season. So now we get to the NFC East, where I've got the Cowboys winning the division, going 12-5 here. And considering that in the last 20 years, no team has repeated as a division champion in the NFC East, I think that this should not be a bold take here. I expect Dak Prescott to improve. I do not think he throws as many interceptions as he did last year. I like Deuce Vaughn to pick up at running back. If Pollard comes back, that can be a very effective duo. From the receiver position, still got CeeDee Lamb, and I think that their offensive line should be good as always. And then I think that Micah Parsons leading that defense will only improve there. So give me the Cowboys to go 12-5. They actually finished with this exact record last year. It was just that the Eagles were so good, they ended up needing a wild card spot there. Next, we go to second place. I've got the Philadelphia Eagles here at 11-6. Now, I do think that they are still a great team, and I still believe in Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. I just think that people were crowning them a bit prematurely, and you kind of saw that their defense got exposed in that Super Bowl. Last year, they played pretty horrendous quarterbacks, and anytime that they were truly tested, you could see that there were some flaws. I still think that they have some great pieces on that defense. Lost a few. We'll see how these Georgia draft picks do, but I just do not think that they're the world beaters that many people kind of expect out of them, that they're a 14-15 win team. I think that they regress a little, and they also have a very tough schedule this year, so I see a bit of regression from them. Next, we got the Giants. I have them regressing a little bit at 8-9 there. I just do not think that Daniel Jones is an elite quarterback by any stretch, and now he's getting paid a ton, which is inhibiting their roster development as well. I think that Saquon will be good for them this year, playing for a new contract, but I just do not think that they have the requisite weapons. I know that they got Darren Waller, which will help a little. I think that their defense will deteriorate a little bit as well. So give me the Giants to finish 8-9 there. Then I've got the Commanders at 6-11. We'll see how Howell plays. I'm not too high on him this upcoming season. There was a reason that he fell that far in the draft, and their roster decent, but it just doesn't have the legs to compete with these other teams in this division, along with the tough schedule. I just do not think that the Commanders can compete here. Got them finishing with 6 wins. Next, we go to the NFC North. Very odd division here, and one that is up for grabs. Give me the Lions to win this one at 10-7. Now, a lot of people are overrating the Lions, I think. I don't think they're a top contender to win the NFC, but just in this division, I think that the Vikings will regress, and then obviously the Packers and Bears not going to be great with Jordan Love and Justin Fields, or not going to be as good as a proven commodity. Jared Goff, I think he is underrated as a quarterback in this league. Maybe he regresses a little this season, but just all of the roster moves that they've made in the past couple of seasons finally coming to fruition here. And that ferocious attitude of Dan Campbell that goes to all the players will be on display this season. I think that Detroit wins this division at 10-7 there. Then Vikings, I've got them going 9-8. Some people have them going way under 500 this year. I know they did get a bit lucky, but they went 13-4 for a reason. I think that they regressed down to 9-8. But I still think that Kirk Cousins has an effective season. Yes, they did lose Dalvin Cook, but I think that the offense will still be effective. Defense was a bit of a liability last year, but still, I have them finishing at 9-8, a bit of an easy schedule here as well. So I think that they are still in the thick of things there. Then in third, I have the Packers at 7-10. Now, Aaron Rodgers didn't have great quarterback play last year, so I do think that Jordan Love could do a good job of replacing that production there, but obviously it wasn't good enough. And then you look at other parts of the roster, which have gotten worse as well. So I'm just not seeing a path for this Packers team. I'm not sure how special Jordan Love is going to be. My guess is that he improves over the course of the season, but by the time that he's playing great football or better football, I think that they might already be out of it here. So give me the Packers to finish third. And then fourth, give me the Bears. I'm bullish on Justin Fields if he can eliminate the mistakes here and maybe be more consistent throwing the ball. But it's just so many holes on this roster, and I just do not like Eberflus as a head coach either. I don't think that he's going to solve many of their problems here. So basically the only case on them making the playoffs this year will just be a very special Justin Fields season, maybe an MVP caliber season, and I think he's a bit too inconsistent at this point to make that all happen. Look, this team had 3 wins last year. I've got them doubling their win total here, getting to 6, so I think that is plenty generous for them. Next, we go to the NFC South, where I've got the Saints at 10-7 here, winning the division. This is kind of like that aforementioned NFC North or AFC South, where you just kind of win it by default. I don't think that the Saints are a special team by any stretch, but I do think that Derek Carr being consistent this season will be good enough to get the job done. And we will also see on Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara if those two can come back and have the production that we've seen out of them the past 4 or 5 years. Because if they can do that, this offensive line is very good and this defense is slept on there. So I think that they will be the best in the NFC South. Then we've got the Falcons finishing at 7-10. Not a big fan of Ritter here, but I do think that their schedule is just so easy that they get to 7 wins. And I do like them drafting Bijan Robinson along with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. I think they are building their weaponry for the future. But for now, I just think that there's too many holes in this roster, including the offensive line and then the defense there, not to mention quarterback, that I just cannot see the Falcons winning this division there. Then the Panthers at 7-10. I know a lot of people are high on Bryce Young and are predicting the Panthers to shock some people and win this division. I'm not seeing it. I just think that Bryce Young will have to find his way in this league. He'll have great moments, but especially with a very bad offensive line, as we were seeing in camp and the preseason, I do not think that this will be a breakout year for the Panthers here at 7-10. They did have a great defense last year. Maybe that holds up. I just do not think that they will have a good enough offense, much like last year, to make any of a difference. Give me them at 7-10. Then I've got the Bucs going 5-12 here. Like the others, a decently easy schedule, so they'll have a lot of winnable games here, but Baker Mayfield, not great in training camp and not great in the preseason. Barely even won the starting job by the looks of it against Kyle Trask, so that's pretty disastrous there. And not to mention, their roster's just been getting worse and worse ever since that Super Bowl run there. No young talent, and I just think that this results in a 5-win season there for Todd Bowles and the Bucs. Next, we get to the NFC West, where I've got the Niners finishing 13-4, getting the 1 seed in the NFC. I just think top to bottom is probably the best roster in all of the NFL. They don't have too hard of a schedule here, and I think that they will just be able to exercise their dominance and physicality on all of the other teams within the division here. As long as Purdy plays as good as he did last year, which is a bit of a stretch considering he was the last pick in the draft, but if he can do that, and by all reports he will be able to, and he will be healthy for this upcoming season, I think that the Niners will be 13-4 here and will be the class of the NFC. Next, we go to the Seahawks at 10-7. I see a similar year to last year. They are really building that roster, that wide receiver core, and their DBs are very, very good. This team has always been good at drafting those type of players, and I think Geno Smith, if he can be elite, they can perhaps win the NFC. I still think he's a bit inconsistent. We saw that over later stretches of last season, but still, the NFC is just so weak. I think they get to 10 wins there and get a playoff berth. Then we've got the Rams at 6-11. This team should just go into full rebuild because there are so many holes on this roster. Yes, sure, they still have Stafford, Kupp, Donald, the stalwarts that brought them to that Super Bowl, but I just do not see it happening. This is just such a weak roster, and even with McVay calling the plays, I don't think they will get them over the hump there. Then Coming in last, we've got the Cardinals at 4-13. I don't even know what they're going to do this season. People are acting like Colt McCoy will play the entire season. I think Kyler Murray will come back at some point, but still, it wasn't great last season. And now you've got Gannon as head coach. I mean, we'll see how he turns out, but I just do not think that this team will be special in any way, and I think they finish with 4 wins there. So now we get to my AFC playoff picture here, where I've got the Chiefs finishing with the first round bye at 12-5, as they usually do. Then you've got the Bills, Ravens, and Jags as the other division winners, and then I've got the Bengals, Dolphins, and Jets at the wildcard positions. And there were a couple other teams in the hunt there that just barely missed out on the playoffs, like the Chargers and Browns, that had winning records 9-8, but just couldn't get in just because there's so much depth in this conference. Perhaps they could get in the weaker NFC. But here, as far as the playoffs go, I think that the Bills defeat the Jets in the first round. I think the Ravens defeat the Dolphins in the first round. And I think that the Bengals can beat the Jags. Again, that they'll probably be favored in Jacksonville there. I just think that Joe Burrow will outclass Trevor Lawrence. Then in the divisional round, I think that the Bengals will do it again. I think that they will have another classic against the Chiefs and win in Arrowhead to advance to the conference championship, where I see them playing the Bills in Buffalo. And much like last year, I think that they will be able to beat the Bills. I think that Joe Burrow will show off his clutch ability, outplay Josh Allen, and I think the Bengals will return to the Super Bowl there despite being in a wild card position. Next, we go to the NFC, where I've got the Niners finishing at the 1 seed and Cowboys at the 2 seed there, and then Lions, Saints. And then with the wild cards, you've got the Eagles, Seahawks, and Vikings there. And I think that you will have some great matchups here. And when it comes down to it, you could see the Eagles play the Niners in either the divisional round or conference championship. The way I've got it panning out is I've got the Niners facing the Cowboys in the NFC championship. Once again, they've played the last 2 years in the playoffs, so I think that they'll face off again here in Levi's Stadium. And I think that Brock Purdy and this Niners team does what it needs to, gets it done here, sets us up for a Niners-Bengals Super Bowl and a rematch, because they will play at Levi's Stadium, I think, in some point in October this year, and I think that the Niners get that one done. Give me the Niners to be my Super Bowl champion. Just think that they have the most talented roster, and I think that Brock Purdy, if he is able to stay healthy, will lead this team to glory. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think about my predictions in the comments down below. How did I have your team end up doing? Do you think I should be higher or lower on them? As always, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.